Welcome back everybody, and you're watching BitcoinerTalk. In today's video, I'll be showing you a little bit on what mempool is. So this is not going to be any technical video, it's just a quick dive in on what mempool is, and if you haven't knew what mempool is before, so now you'll know and hopefully you'll be using it as well. So mempool is short for memory pool, and it is basically, as you can see, a blockchain. So this is the blocks that have already been mined, and these are the blocks that are still waiting in the line to be mined. So as of time of recording this video, last block was mined 7 minutes ago by Foundry Pool or Foundry US. The best way to explain what mempool is for non-Bitcoiners is imagine you're waiting in a line for a nightclub. So you're here waiting in a line to be accepted into the nightclub. But this nightclub, once you're accepted, you'll never be able to leave it. So every time you send a transaction, for example, you're sending it on layer one, so you're sending a transaction, every time you make a transaction, your transaction gets stuck here. So it's a no man's land. It's not in a blockchain yet, and it's not in your wallet. So it's where in a mempool, and we're speaking right now, and another block has been added to the blockchain, and the block is mined by SEC pool. SEC pool. Yeah, this is where your transaction gets stuck, and once it's mined, so for example, as the block has been mined right now while I was waffling, 1,877 transactions were added to this block, and this block will never ever be able to leave the blockchain. And then you can click on the block and you can see the subsidy, basically meaning the reward of the Bitcoin. At the moment, it's 3.15 Bitcoin. That's how much you get for mining a Bitcoin block. Also, to keep in mind, every time a miner mines a block, they get the subsidy, and then they also get the fee for whenever you send a transaction, you pay a fee. This is where your fee is going. One useful thing for the beginners on mempool is, for example, if you're looking to make a transaction and you're using a wallet that doesn't really show you the accurate fees, or maybe they're bumping up the fees to maybe take the cut for themselves or whatever it is, you can always come to mempool.space and you can check the real fees that are on the Bitcoin network. So at the moment, the medium priority is 0.5 sats per VByte. So it's around 6 cents at the moment of recording of this video. High priority is 1 sat per VByte, and these are actually pretty good fees considering at the moment. And while I was waffling, again, a new block was added to the blockchain, which is mined by Antpool, and this block has actually 4,661 transactions in it. There's a lot of documentation you can read about what mempool is, what mempool explorer is, what the blockchain is, what mining is. So even if I'm not giving you enough information, everything you need to know is over here. So how can I look up a transaction? How can I look up an address? And just to answer it, you can just put in your address here. You can put in your transaction ID here. You can put a lot of things to do with Bitcoin into here and see your transactions. So this is pretty much a quick overview on what mempool is. And mempool is very helpful for beginners to track their transactions, to play about, to get to know a little bit what blockchain is, what the mempool is, what the waiting times are, what the transaction fees are, what the difficulty adjustment is, when is it coming. I'm pretty sure, oh yeah, here, there you go, difficulty adjustment, we have it over here, and it says the difficulty adjustment would be happening in around 8 days. So on December 25th, we will have another difficulty adjustment, which basically means every around 2 weeks, the Bitcoin network automatically adjusts and decides if it needs to be easier to mine or harder to mine. The more people mine, the harder it is to mine, and then the less people there are, the easier it is to mine. For example, like over here, 6 minutes ago, we had a block mine, and then exactly at the same time, we had another block mine. So this, if it keeps happening, if blocks get mined quicker than 10 minutes, then the difficulty adjustment will kick in and it will be slightly easier to mine Bitcoin. But then once again, if the Bitcoin protocol, the Bitcoin network, sees that it's easier to mine Bitcoin, it will make adjustments and make it harder for people to mine Bitcoin. So it is just embedded in the Bitcoin network. Nobody's controlling and nobody's deciding if it's hard or easy. The Bitcoin network itself decides that it's easy or hard, and it's adjusting to whatever it decides. So it's not a person, it's Bitcoin itself that adjusts to its difficulty. And then if you see here, you can go on halving, and then you can see we are 41, well, nearly 42% through to the halving. So the next halving will be on April 10th, 2028. There are 121,000 blocks remaining to be mined. And then the new subsidy will be 1.56 free Bitcoin. So at the moment it's 3.15 Bitcoin. That meaning each person or each miner that mines a block gets 3.15 Bitcoin. And then after the halving, so after this date, the Bitcoin halving or the new subsidy will be 1.556 free Bitcoin, as you can see over here. So after this date, it will be much more harder to mine Bitcoin. But even it being harder to mine Bitcoin, you will get less for what you're using. You will put more energy in, you will put more electricity in, you will have to spend more on hardware, but you will get less in return. This is the beauty of why Bitcoin has its values for what it has. Once again, difficulty adjustment, the halving, the transaction fees. This right here, the green one means you're waiting in a line, and the purple or these blocks is what has been added to the blockchain. And technically, once it's past like 7 blocks, it will never be able to be removed from the blockchain. So as I said at the start, once you enter the club on this side, you will never be able to leave the club. This is the best analogy that I have for people that are non-Bitcoinal technical people. I just hope that this video was helpful for at least one person watching this, and I hope you learned something new, and I hope you can have some spare time to go to mempool.space and have a look and play about. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. This was BitcoinerTalk, and I hope you learned something new.